Fremantle is beautiful, full of vibrancy, a place for meeting, a place for living. But are the people of Fremantle living with a fear of lead contamination? This fear has been brought front and centre after a recent lead carbonate shipping container buckled here at Fremantle Port.
Thankfully the accident wasn't a bad one, but it does show that no matter how good your management process is, accidents do happen.
It was a damaged container, so the lead is actually double bagged and it's within established containers, and it doesn't appear from anything that I've seen that there was actually lead escaped from the container.
While Russell and Hill Mining were unable to be interviewed, they did release a special statement to Undercurrent, saying that while the accident was regrettable, there is no suggestion that any product was released from either the container or the sealed bags. The statement also reiterates the Environmental Protection Authority, quoting that the measures taken are more than sufficient and go over and above what is required.
No matter how well-intentioned you are, and I really do think this is a well-intentioned company, managing the risks, managing possible accidents that happen through the process of these large quantities of lead coming through built-up communities, I think still has major dangers for us.
This isn't the first case of something going wrong for Russell and Hill Mining Corporation, formerly known as Magellan Metals. Accidents like this raise the question as to whether or not the transportation of lead should continue through Fremantle Port.
Obviously, what happened in Esperance, where you saw major contamination, I mean, the thought that there will be birds falling from the sky and water contamination, much higher lead readings in children, all of those things are of real concern.
There's been lessons learnt through that process. The Esperance disaster really was a disaster, and I know that the environmental agencies have really learnt from that, and the management processes in place are much better. Even though they're better, from our perspective, they're not strong enough, especially when you're taking it through a built-up area like Fremantle and all the suburbs going out to the east. We've already seen elevated lead levels along that transport route. The source of those is not yet confirmed, but that for us sets off some alarm bells, and we really want to make sure that this is really strictly monitored so there is no dangers to human health or the environment.
Some harmful effects of lead exposure include damage to nervous system, decreased muscle growth, kidney damage, fertility problems for both men and women, muscle and joint pain, among others. These effects are more prominent in children.
The lead is being transported from Walloona, so it's being transported through the goldfields, right across through the metropolitan area, and I understand that there are 2 or 3 times a week that there are containers of lead coming through the Fremantle Port. It has led me and a number of I think many members of the community to the conclusion that there's no safe transport of the lead in its current form. What would be preferable is that the lead would be made into ingots, which would mean that it's in a solid mass and it could then be transported.
The City of Fremantle's been really clear about this all the way through. We want to see if lead's going to come through our community, we want it to be in the safest form possible, and that's a bar form, an ingot form, not a dust form.
While the Barnett government, sanctioned by the Environmental Protection Authority, has given the green light to resume lead transporting through Fremantle Port, this accident shows that it is still unclear as to whether or not the harsher restrictions placed on Russell and Hill Mining will in fact protect the community from future lead leaks. This is Jacinta Dickens reporting for Undercurrent.